10 signs appears when you both are thinking each other. It's not just in your head. The Stoic hub, when you meet someone with the same frequency as you. It's not chance, it's alignment, unknown. You've been going about your day and suddenly, there they are not physically, but in your mind, a flash of their name, a moment you shared that resurfaces out of nowhere, a feeling subtle but persistent that you're still somehow connected. Despite time distance or silence, you ask yourself why, now? And more importantly, are they feeling this too? Here's what modern psychology and centuries of quiet human intuition suggest when two people share a deep emotional or energetic bond. It doesn't just fade. Even in absence, that connection can echo. And sometimes those echoes show up as signs, subtle yet potent indicators that you're not alone in your thoughts. This isn't fantasy. It's a real, studied psychological phenomenon rooted in emotional resonance, shared memory, and the subconscious cues our brains constantly process. So if you felt that tug, that strange synchronicity, or that quiet certainty, they might be feeling it too. Let's explore 10 clear signs that the connection still runs both ways. 1. You feel each other without speaking. 2. Real connection doesn't wait for words. It speaks in silence. It moves through instinct. It's knowing, not guessing. When you sense something's off with her, and hours later you find out she was hurting, that's not luck, that's not a hunch. That's the invisible thread of connection pulled tight by something deeper than logic. When your phone lights up just moments after she crossed your mind, don't call it coincidence. Call it what it is. Intuitive bonding. A recognition of energy, a silent signal passed between two people whose spirits are still locked in sync. This isn't softness, this is strength. This is what the Stoic understands, not the cold avoidance of emotion, but the disciplined embrace of truth. And the truth is, some connections outlive conversation, they run beneath the surface. The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts, Marcus Aurelius wrote, and when two souls have once met, truly met, they stain each other in ways no time or distance can erase. Don't dismiss this as fantasy. This is reality for those awake enough to see it. Men anchored in Stoic principles know the value of stillness, but they also recognize the wisdom of the gut. Intuition is a form of intelligence. It's not irrational. It's ancient. It's what told warriors when to raise their shield. It's what told the old leaders when a battle was coming before they saw the enemy. That same inner compass now tells you when she's thinking of you, when her sadness touches your chest before you hear her voice. That is the evidence, that is the call, and you must listen. Modern life tries to distract you from this, with noise, endless messages, shallow thinking. Don't be fooled, be focused, be alert. Master this quiet. Knowing in a world where everyone is shouting, the Stoic man listens. He observes, he senses, and he acts only when necessary, with precision, not impulse. So when you feel her presence before the message comes, when your heart tightens without reason, don't ignore it, honor it. It means the connection still breathes. It means your soul is still tuned to hers. That is not a weakness, that is power. Let's be clear, not all connections are built to last, but the ones that linger in silence, the ones that show up in your gut, not your inbox. Those are rare, those are real, and if you're feeling it, chances are, so is she, that's the kind of awareness most men miss. Don't be like most men. Be awake, be deliberate, be the one who knows, not the one who doubts. To understand the true quality of people, you must look into their minds and examine their pursuits and aversions. Marcus Aurelius didn't write for the faint of heart. He wrote for men like you, men willing to master themselves, to trust what's felt but not said, to live by Stoic principles, and win not with force but with presence. So, when your spirit feels her, before the world gives you proof, trust it, that is the edge, that is the sign, and that, my friend, is how you master life without saying a word. 2. You feel their presence in silence. Silence, when you're truly connected to someone, doesn't just fill a room, it echoes through your bones. It can soothe you like a warm hand on your chest, or rattle you like a gust of wind through an open window in the dead of night. That's the paradox when the connection runs deep. Deeper than conversation, deeper than logic, the quiet becomes its own kind of language. You lie in bed, the room still, yet suddenly you feel it there. They're not in body, no, but in feeling, in memory, in something more ancient than thought. A song plays, your heart clenches, and for a split second it's like they've stepped into the room with you. That's not madness. That's not a weakness. That's a phenomenon real enough to be studied. What thinkers and therapists call a phantom connection. It's when the emotional gravity between two people is so strong it outlives the physical contact. This isn't some dreamy fantasy. This is the live truth of the modern Stoic. The man who can feel without being ruled, who can remember without unraveling the blessing of Stoicism, is not in denying the presence of another once they're gone, but in recognizing that the depth of that presence means something. It means you felt something real. And in a world addicted to surface level, everything that is rare, that is gold, you must understand this. Sometimes silence isn't absence. Sometimes silence is their soul, whispering when their mouth can't speak. That stillness you feel before sleep, that moment where the world goes quiet and only one face lives in your thoughts. That's not your mind playing tricks, that's memory and energy. Intertwining, that's a conversation between two spirits that never needed phones or screens to communicate. The old Stoic would sit with this feeling. Honor it, learn from it. He wouldn't numb it. He wouldn't run. Be that man. Be still, be alert, because when the presence of someone lingers in silence, it's not because you're weak. It's because the connection was strong. It is strong. Don't dismiss it. Don't belittle it. That's not just grief or longing. That's real human resonance. And you must have the spine to stand in that space, to hold it, to listen to what silence is trying to say. The modern Stoic doesn't fear these moments. He sees them for what they are. Proof that connection is more than contact. That love is more than noise. And that some bonds do not break, they simply evolve. So when you feel them beside you in a quiet room, don't flinch, don't doubt it. That is not emptiness, that is presence, that is love enduring through silence. That, my friend, is the true blessing of Stoicism. If you found value in this hit, that like button, share it with someone who needs this message. And don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic insights and modern wisdom. Let's build a space for grounded men who feel deeply and live intentionally. Comment to remember, I honor the power of silent connection. Drop it below to remind yourself and others that real presence doesn't need noise. 3. You keep seeing their name everywhere. You're going through your day like any other, coffee in hand. Email piling up, halfway tuned into the world, and then it happens. Boom, their name jumps out at you like it's chasing you down on a street sign, a podcast guest, a character in a show you've never watched before. At first, you brush it off. Coincidence, right? But then it happens again and again. That's no accident. That's a phenomenon known in psychology as the Baader-Meinhof effect or frequency illusion. It's what happens when your brain, emotionally wired and subtly tuned, starts noticing something or someone over and over again because it suddenly holds weight. When someone becomes emotionally significant, your awareness locks in. You're not forcing it. You're not imagining things. Your mind has become a radar, scanning the world for echoes of them. That's how deep connection works. And here's the kicker. It's not just your brain playing tricks. It's your energy responding. The emotional bond you once shared, or maybe still do, amplifies that signal. And in the Stoic life where calm observation is, King recognizing these patterns isn't foolishness. It's wisdom. Don't dismiss the signs just because they seem strange. Be alert, be aware. Stoicism teaches us to see clearly, not just with the eyes, but with understanding. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." If that person is colouring your thoughts, if their name is riding shotgun through your day, it's not a ghost, it's not an illusion, it's a reflection of an unresolved connection, still alive, still moving. That's not a weakness, that's reality. The Stoic lessons aren't about pretending you don't feel, they're about knowing how to feel. Without falling apart, you must understand when something consistently shows up in your awareness, especially something tied to the heart. It may be more than just neural activity, it could be energy alignment. Yes, your brain plays a role, but so does the bond. And maybe they're thinking of you too. Maybe their thoughts, their emotions, their energy are being broadcast, and your subconscious is picking up the signal loud and clear. This is not a call to obsession. This is a call to attention. Don't ignore it. Don't overanalyze it either. Simply notice, observe, reflect. That's the Stoic way. The man who lives by Stoic principles doesn't chase shadows, but he doesn't turn a blind eye to the truth, staring him in the face. Either if their name is following you around, don't run from it. Ask yourself why. Ask what part of you is still reaching out. And what part of them might be doing the same, that is clarity, that is depth, that is the real-world application of Stoicism in your emotional life. So the next time you see their name flash across your path, don't smirk and say, "What a weird coincidence. Stand still, breathe, pay attention." It might be the universe tapping you on the shoulder saying, "Look again." 4. You can't stop thinking about them because you're destined to. And no, this isn't just some poetic fluff or feel-good sentiment. It's the realist truth a man living a Stoic life needs to hear when someone keeps crashing into your thoughts like a tide that won't quit, waking you in the middle of the night or sliding into your mind while you're halfway through your morning coffee. Don't be so quick to label it as nostalgia. Don't dismiss it as a leftover feeling. Be sharper than that. Because sometimes what you're experiencing isn't just memory. It's a message, a pull, a sign that destiny might have a say in this. See, the universe doesn't shout, it whispers. And the modern man, especially one rooted in Stoic lessons, must be wise enough to hear it. When a certain someone keeps showing up in your dreams, popping up in your day-to-day, or slipping into your mind like clockwork. That's not a coincidence, that's alignment. That's the universe nudging you toward what still matters. It doesn't matter how long it's been, or how much you've tried to rationalize your way out of it, if their name still burns behind your thoughts like a soft ember. It's because some connections aren't made to fade. Some bonds were carved into your path long before you even met. Call it fate, call it divine timing, or call it a soul contract. It doesn't change what it is. The Stoic life isn't about denying emotion. It's about mastering your reaction to it. But mastery doesn't mean blindness. The blessing of Stoicism is in recognizing which feelings matter and which are just noise. And this quiet, persistent longing, it's not noise, it's a signal, one worth your attention when two souls are meant to connect. Life will leave breadcrumbs, some obvious, some hidden in the most mundane moments. A song, a phrase, a scent. You must be awake enough to notice. Don't talk yourself out of what your heart already knows. Don't let logic strangle instinct. Be grounded. Yes, but not numb. A true man of Stoicism understands that not all truths can be proven. Some must be felt deeply viscerally, because the heart knows what the mind can't always explain when someone's energy stays locked into your orbit, when they live in your mind, rent-free, despite the years, despite the silence. That's not weakness, that's gravity, and gravity doesn't ask permission. So stop trying to silence the feeling. Acknowledge it. Sit with it. Let it guide you, not rule you, but guide you. That's the balance, that art. Because the Stoic lessons you carry are not about becoming stone. They're about becoming unshakable and aware. It's about strength, with soul, stillness, with sensitivity. If she still lingers in your heart, despite time, despite distance, then maybe she's meant to, and that, my friend, is not something you ignore. That's something you honor. That's something you understand with your whole being. Because sometimes destiny doesn't come crashing in. Sometimes it just stays quiet, constant, waiting for you to finally notice if this speaks to something deep in you, if they keep showing up in your mind, uninvited but welcome. Then maybe it's not just chance. Maybe it's destiny doing its quiet work. If you feel that pull, don't ignore it. Like, share and subscribe for more modern Stoic insight comment. To remember, if they're meant to stay, the universe won't let me forget. 5. They smile when they think of you. There's power in the quiet truth that someone out there smiles, not because of what you said, but because of who you are. That's not fantasy. That's psychology. That's an emotional imprint in a world built on noise. The calm memory of a man who made someone feel seen, steady and safe, is rare and unforgettable. When you become someone's peace, their mind doesn't need a reason to revisit you. It chooses to. Their smile is involuntary. That's not an accident. That's associative memory, the brain's way of locking in emotional experiences and pairing them with people. You made them laugh. You brought calm. You showed up when it mattered. So now, even in your absence, their nervous system remembers your presence. Their body reacts with warmth before their mind even finishes the thought. And you need to understand, this isn't just about romance. This is about legacy, impact, and character. Stoic principles teach us that our actions shape our character, and our character echoes long after we're gone. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you become a thought that brings someone joy, you've done something right. So don't question it. Don't second guess your impact. Just because you're not in the room, be the man whose presence is remembered in peace, not in pain. In a modern world, starving for real connection, you must become someone unforgettable. Not by being loud, but by being anchored. Live your stoic life in such a way that even your absence feels like support. That's the real victory. That's a lasting influence in a sea of temporary distractions. Be the one thought that sticks, the one memory that warms. You don't need validation to know you've left an emotional imprint. You need awareness. Let your legacy be a quiet smile on someone's face. At the end of a hard day, that is power, that is success, that is stoicism in practice. Not just surviving life, but mastering it. Don't chase attention. Don't seek applause. Build yourself into the kind of man who is remembered fondly, even in silence. Let your consistency, kindness, and presence speak louder than any message ever could, in the words of Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, so be the man they think of and smile. Be the memory that heals, not hurts. Be the peace they never had to ask for. Because if their heart still smiles when your name crosses their mind, you've already won. You've lived the stoic life. Whether you knew it or not, that is what mastery looks like. Quiet, steady, lasting. 6. You feel emotionally in sync even when you're far apart. You feel emotionally in sync even when you're miles apart, and no, it's not just your imagination playing tricks on you. There's a strange and beautiful truth that even the old Stoic philosophers might have tipped their heads to something deeper than coincidence, sharper than chance. You're not texting every day. You're not glued to each other's orbit, but still without warning, you feel them. You catch yourself staring into space with a strange weight in your chest. Then find out later they were facing something tough at that exact moment. You chuckle at an inside joke that pops into your head, only to hear they were thinking about that same memory, unprovoked. That's not just nostalgia, that's empathic resonance, a real studied phenomenon. where two minds, two hearts seem to tap into the same emotional frequency. It's not mystical nonsense. It's modern Stoic science meets the raw pulse of human connection. The modern Stoic man learns to respect it, not dismiss it. You must, because these emotional echoes, they're telling you something. Don't underestimate it. Don't talk yourself out of it. This is one of those blessings of Stoicism, not suppressing the experience, but understanding it with clarity. It's a connection without neediness. It's being seen even in silence. And yes, even Marcus Aurelius would agree, some bonds don't ask for proof. They just exist. You think of her, the phone buzzes, you get chills before she calls. It's not magic, it's the mysterious logic of deep reciprocal awareness. Your nervous systems remember each other. Your emotional cues are tuned in, like old radio stations still playing through static. Be honest, how many times have you brushed off those coincidences just to save face, to protect that armor? The old Stoic in you wears so proudly, but being a modern Stoic doesn't mean being numb. It means being awake to truth, to timing, to emotional intelligence. You must feel it and still stand strong. There's power in knowing you're not going crazy. There's someone out there dancing to your same invisible rhythm. This isn't teenage fantasy, it's an adult realization. It's the soul's quiet nod in a noisy world that is the beauty of connection, that doesn't ask to be loud. It doesn't beg, it simply is. And the modern Stoic sees it, knows it, and honors it. You don't need validation when you know the vibration. It doesn't matter if the world says that's just in your head, because when it happens again, and it will, you'll remember this truth. The old Stoic knee pain, the modern Stoic knows alignment. You're not alone, not in emotion, not in thought. There's someone on the other side of that silence feeling the same pull. So don't dismiss it. Recognize the signal. Respect the energy, and for the love of all things, stay open, because sometimes the strongest connections don't come from constant words, but from the blessing of Stoicism, the kind that lets you feel deeply without falling apart. If you've ever felt that invisible rhythm where your mood shifts, and theirs does too, where the silence still feels full, then, it's real. That's not luck. That's empathic resonance. That's a connection beyond words. And if that truth hits home for you, drop a comment right now. Our hearts speak the same language, even in silence. Like this video, subscribe for more Stoic life clarity. And remember, real connection doesn't beg for attention. It moves through presence. 7. When you miss them, it's because they miss you too. Here's a deeper look into a truth most men brush off with a shrug, but shouldn't when you suddenly miss her out of nowhere with a sharp tug in your chest, like a guitar string snapping. Don't just chalk it up to nostalgia or loneliness. That feeling might not be yours alone. In fact, that emotional pool could be hers too. You see, the modern Stoic doesn't wallow in sentiment, but he doesn't ignore his instincts either. Emotional reciprocity, it's not some romantic mumbo-jumbo, it's real, the human heart. As old Stoics quietly understood, doesn't just pump blood, it sends and receives signals, subtle ones that science hasn't quite mapped. But every man has felt like, when your thoughts are yanked towards someone with no warning, there's a reason for that. You might be feeling their energy reaching out gently, insistently. It's not a weakness, it's a connection. And the blessing of Stoicism is knowing how to stay grounded, while also being aware of the invisible threads that bind you to others when someone's energy is braided into yours, when you've shared real time, real moments. There's an imprint left behind an echo. So when she pops into your mind and won't leave, don't tell yourself you're being soft. Don't silence that instinct. Be still, be sharp. That may very well be her thinking of you, wanting to reach out, choosing silence but sending signals anyway. The old Stoic knew how to sit in silence and listen to what most men ignore. He knew that missing someone isn't a cry for attention. It's a recognition of shared frequency, a pull from the deep well of connection. The modern Stoic doesn't chase ghosts, but he also doesn't deny the mysterious language of the heart, that tightness in your chest, that sudden swirl of memory. That's not a weakness, that's awareness. So don't bury it, let it speak, let it remind you that maybe you're not the only one awake in the middle of the night wondering if the other person feels it too. Because chances are they do. They just don't know how to say it out loud. And sometimes the blessing of Stoicism is realizing you don't need words, you just need to feel and know. So the next time your thoughts drift, uninvited but relentless, take a breath. Don't dismiss it. Don't harden. Be the man who notices. Be the man who trusts his instincts. Because missing someone might just be your heart responding to theirs. And that is not weakness. That is wisdom. That is strength in its quietest, most powerful form. 8. They pop into your mind out of nowhere. It's not just coincidence, not just nostalgia wearing a new jacket. You're in the middle of something mundane, washing dishes, replying to emails, stuck in traffic. And suddenly, there it is, their name, their faces, that one laugh. They do when they're trying not to laugh. It's not like you were reminiscing. You weren't scrolling through old photos or chasing some sentimental thread. It just happens like a whisper breaking through the noise, as if someone backstage pulled the curtain just wide enough for their energy to slip through. That's not fantasy. That's a real studied phenomenon. Psychologists call it thought transference. The idea that two minds, especially those emotionally bonded, can exchange thoughts, even from a distance. No texts, no calls, just a surge of them in your head like a signal from afar, off radio tower, tuned, exactly to your frequency. Don't shrug it off. Don't bury it under the old Stoic habit of stay logical, stay detached, because even the ancient Stoics understood the unseen threads of human nature. Seneca didn't need a smartphone to know that souls once connected often drift toward each other when least expected. This is one of those quiet Stoic lessons: awareness without obsession, acknowledgement without overindulgence. Be alert. Be still when someone floods your thoughts from nowhere. It might not be one-sided. It could be their mind knocking at your door, looking for connection in the only way it can. You must understand this is not weakness. It's deep. It's part of the Stoic life. The art of mastering the mind while staying open to mystery. This isn't about turning spiritual fluff into science fiction. It's about recognizing that emotional bonds operate outside of GPS coordinates. Maybe they were thinking of you first. Maybe your name rolled through their thoughts, warm and uninvited, and somehow that ripple made its way to you. That's not superstition. That's the resonance. That's a quiet moment of alignment that can't be forced, only noticed. That is where real connection lives. Not in constant communication, but in those strange split-second reminders that someone out there is carrying a piece of your energy, and when that flash of their presence comes without a trigger, that's not noise, that's a signal you're tuned in. So don't dismiss it, don't explain it away to feel rational. Instead, embrace it with that rare blend of strength and softness the Stoic life teaches. Let the moment land. Let it teach you something. Because the truth is, when someone pops into your head out of nowhere, it could mean they're already thinking of you. Not in some Hollywood drama way, but in the real quiet way, that life when lived with presence reveals its hidden architecture. That's a lesson worth paying attention to. That's a Stoic lesson, dressed in everyday clothes. And it's not just in your head. If you've ever felt that sudden thought strike out of nowhere like a whisper, you didn't ask for, you're already more aware than most. Most men ignore it. You didn't. You felt it, you recognized it. That's the beginning of real connection and inner power. Comment below. I trust the signal, I honor the connection. Let the world know you're no longer blind to the signs. Sheen. You get sudden waves of emotion that don't feel like yours. Listen carefully, because this is not some vague mystical theory. It's real and it matters. You felt it. A wave of emotion, sadness, tension, joy, even fear crashes into your chest. Without warning, it doesn't match your day. It doesn't fit your reality. It just appears. And here's the truth, that emotion might not be yours. It could be the result of emotional projection, a powerful phenomenon that modern psychology recognizes, and the ancient Stoic thinkers would have intuitively understood. When two people are connected, truly bonded, there is a resonance, an energetic bridge between them. You are not weak for feeling this. In fact, awareness of this connection makes you stronger. Marcus Aurelius, a pillar of Stoic thought, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. But what happens when the thoughts and the emotions aren't even yours? That's when Stoic discipline becomes vital. You must stand firm. You must master the storm before it controls your decisions. Don't dismiss these waves, but don't let them rule you either." A modern man, guided by Stoic principles, understands the difference between his own emotional truth and that which enters from another. Recognize it, acknowledge it, then control your response. Emotional intelligence is not about avoidance. It's about command, that sudden sadness, that surge of joy. It may be their signal reaching for your attention, a connection that defies logic yet demands presence. But here's the catch. You must not react blindly. You must remain grounded, just as the Stoics taught. Don't get swept away. Control the inner battlefield. Own your space. Stay still in your own soul. Because if someone's storm is moving through your sky, you are the one who must choose whether to let it rain or rise above the clouds. Let's be real, modern life is loud. Stress, distraction, endless pressure that makes your emotional clarity even more essential. Don't ignore these signs, don't suppress them. Either observe, discern, decide. The Stoic man does not fear emotion, he masters it. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So let's get clear. If you're feeling something deep, something unexplained, it could be energy from someone else, someone connected to you. That's not a weakness, that's insight, but never let it shake your foundation. Let it remind you that the true test of strength is not what you feel, it's how you respond. Be still, be sharp, be sovereign, because the modern Stoic doesn't chase signs. He understands them. He owns his energy. He rules his inner world. That is what it means to master your mind, to live with honour, and to walk the path of the Stoic in today's chaotic world. So the next time that wave hits, don't drown. Stand, breathe, lead. This is your life rule. At 10, you have dreams about them, and they feel real. Pay attention. Not all dreams are just dreams. Some carry weight. Some wake you up with a jolt. Not from fear, but from the unmistakable feeling that someone was there with you. You saw their faces. You heard their voice. You felt something real that was no illusion. That was a soul encounter in the quiet of the night when your defences are down and your mind isn't distracted by emails, deadlines, or traffic connections. Find their way in when the bond between two people runs deep. When it's etched into the subconscious, it doesn't disappear. Just because the day ends, it resurfaces in your sleep. This isn't mysticism, it's memory. Emotion and energy colliding. Psychology has started to explore this shared, dreaming subconscious connection. Soul, resonance, call it what you want. What matters is you felt it. And if that dream keeps coming back, vivid, specific, emotionally charged, it could be more than just memory. It could mean that they're dreaming of you too, not just in passing thought, but in spirit, in connection, and in longing. Don't brush that off. Don't be quick to label it. Fantasy Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. What do you think of repeatedly? What enters your dreams is not meaningless. It's a signal, a symbol, a calling. If that person keeps returning to your mind while you sleep, your soul is paying attention. Maybe theirs is too. This is where Stoic principles come in. The modern man must not be ruled by emotion, but he must also not ignore it. A Stoic doesn't flee from the truth of his heart. He faces it, he examines it, then he chooses his response. Not with impulse care, but with wisdom. Don't chase ghosts, don't lose yourself in dreams, but don't deny what your spirit is trying to show you. There's power in self-awareness. There's strength in silence, but most of all, there is clarity in stillness. The Stoic man doesn't wake up confused. He wakes up alert, he reflects, he asks, what does this mean? What should I do with it? Then he acts with purpose. That is modern mastery, that is mental sovereignty. Let's get serious. This isn't about being emotional. It's about being in command. If someone is appearing in your dreams night after night, it may be a sign that something remains unresolved, unfinished, or unspoken. That doesn't mean you must act, but you must not ignore, reflect, decide, be intentional. The Stoic path isn't about coldness, it's about control. You own your mind, you rule your emotions, you don't react, you respond. That is how a man leads himself. That is how a man earns clarity, even in the shadows of sleep. So the next time you wake up with someone still lingering in your spirit, don't panic, don't fantasize, think stand up, face the truth and remember. The dream may pass, but the lesson remains own. It rise from it. Let it shape you, not shake you. Thanks for watching, my friend. Conclusion. 10 signs appears when you both are thinking each other. It's not just in your head. The Stoic hub. If this resonated with you, just know you're not alone and you're not imagining things. The signs we talked about today, they're not just coincidences, they're little reminders that real connections don't vanish. They echo through thoughts, energy, and time. So here's my honest advice. Don't ignore the signs. Stay open, stay grounded. And if someone's been on your heart, maybe it's for a reason. Maybe they're feeling it too. Take care of yourself and don't forget to subscribe. If you want more truths like this, grounded in the Stoic Hub, until next time, be well and trust what your soul already knows.